So my next guest today is Adam Payne from New Way Growth. Adam, how are you doing today?
I'm all good. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, Simon.
Yeah, no, good. No, welcome. And then Startup is all about talking about starting businesses and what it's like to start a business. So before we crack on and really talk about what it's like to start a business and all the fun and games that comes with it, do you want to give us an introduction to yourself about what you do and who you are?
Yeah, can do. Yeah, no. Adam Payne. I'm a multiple small business owner. I also have a podcast, a Keeping It Business podcast. I'm also heavily involved with UK manufacturing as an ambassador with everything to do with UK manufacturing, run the manufacturing hour, and then with the 5 businesses that we have, manufacturing consultancy, additive manufacturing business, New Way Growth, Factory IQ, a SaaS software, and IDG events, so the metaverse platform events. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell, I suppose.
Yeah, fantastic. And what a big nutshell it is with 5 businesses. So, obviously today he's talking about starting a business, and here's a man that's running 5 businesses and a podcast channel. So, talk to us about the businesses you do run. How sort of long have you been running the companies? So, which one was first?
The manufacturing consultancy was first. So that was 2012. That would be. So that came out. I was a senior executive in private equity, running a 250 million division operationally of Doncaster's, but did the strategy as well for the billion turnover business, the implementation of that. And the manufacturing, because it was where I was, what I was doing, had always been involved with growth strategy and operations within those businesses, business turnaround and a troubleshooter. It just sort of like, as it is, as a passion there, it just sort of like fit that, well, okay, I'll give it a go. And how that came about, funny enough, was I'd brought in some consultants into an America site and paid $250,000. And the first week out there, I flew out there with a team of with myself, and it was shocking. And I just sat there and thought, yeah, I can do better than that. So, and that's what spurred me on to start it up.
Fantastic. And talking about that business, obviously 10 years ago now, wasn't it? What was it like when you first got that first client that you took on? How was the feeling?
Oh yeah, brilliant. There's no two ways about it. It's superb when you get your first client, because it's sort of like I can say, it just verifies that you've got a business and something there. Because if you've sold one customer, if you've got one customer, you've sold one thing, it means that there is something there, and we need to understand how we can build upon that. So yeah, that was good. I think the early stages for me, I did trip up. We're not keeping on a lookout on that pipeline. There's no two ways about it. So yeah, I did have a few hiccups for a start off. It is hard starting from scratch, but just got to make sure that you're consistent in what you're doing and keep it going. So yeah, that was
fantastic. I know when I first started out, getting that first client was amazing. And the first month's sales, £356.81. I'll never forget that figure. First month sales, not profit, not that was before anything came out. So, I'm always saying to people, there was once when I lost a quarter or a third of our turnover actually overnight. We lost a client, and we had a lot of eggs very weighted towards a particular corner of the basket, where obviously this client was a third of our turnover, and they came to collect the products and everything that we produced for them, and they said to us, I'll pay you when I get back, is that all right? And I was like, that's a bit not right. He normally pays on collection. And then he phoned me the next day and he said, Simon, I'm ever so sorry, but we've got issues and we've decided to close down the business. And I'm like, oh my God. And I remember going into a business network meeting a couple of days later, and someone said, oh, you're a bit down. What's the problem? And I said, well, I've just lost a third of my turnover. And he just said, what was your first month's sales? I went, £356.81. He went, right, well, you got out of bed for that money, just go and do it again. And it was the best words that you could give me, actually, because it kicked me and told me to, you're right. It's about, discovering that passion really and getting back out. But we've all made mistakes. I'm sure we've got many tales to tell. So
God, yeah, I've had 2 failures and all manner of stuff. So
only 2.
Yeah, just got to carry on. It is. I think the majority of it is up here.
Yeah,
without a doubt, and 80%, I reckon, is mindset and how you apply it. You've got to carry on, dust yourself off, give yourself a bit of a pep talk and crack on with it.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes I made, 2018, I was supplying promotional products and branded items. So we had a rush job coming for a very large logistics company who said, look, we need this in by this deadline. And all the products came in to get manufactured, and it was the wrong product that was supplied. It wasn't checked by the supplier. Of course, went off to go and, I didn't see it because I was project managing the whole job, and it went off to the customer, who did spot the problem, and we were 15 minutes late as well, and he just literally said, look, no, this is not good enough, we've lost the contract, lost the work. But the biggest problem I had was I'd actually borrowed some financing to grow the company, and I had a debenture against the company on the balance sheet, and of course that left me with a very large lead weight on the balance sheet, which couldn't be removed, and it was horrendous. And I think you always continue learning in business. You always continue, looking to continue your own growth as well. And you just learn as you go forward, don't you?
You do, yeah, you do, yeah. And you talking around that with the numbers, you've got to know your numbers. And the thing for me is in the early stages, especially, is cash flow. You've only got so long a runway that you'll probably be able to need. So cash flow is very, 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 very important in the early stages. And then if you want to grow as well, because it takes cash to grow. I have a very, very simplistic view. I like bringing it down to simplicity. There's 4 things you've got to look at: strategy, systems, people, and processes. And you can lob a 5th one in there, which is cash, if you want to grow. And if you want to change an output of your business, you've got to change one of those 4 things. And that's how you'll get it.
Yeah, brilliant. And the company now running. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was just saying, you've got to break it down into simple terms and just take it, just take little simple steps, but have a long-term view. Break it down.
And the company now running, New Way Growth, is all about mentoring and supporting businesses on their journey, whether they're starting out or established businesses. So, do you want to tell us, the sort of thing you can actually do for startup companies, for example?
Yeah, the startup side, we can help with anything, even if it's just like an hour, some mentoring point. If you've got a particular challenge you want to get over, because it can be a very, very lonely place, and looking and finding the right people. So we do those sort of sessions. We do a lot of free training. We put a lot of resource into the website, the New Way Growth website. But we do all manner of things, from a startup program of work, the 30-day fire up program. We do then ramp up to revenue, we then do build to scale, and then everything in between, but from a digital marketing point of view. So copywriting, pay-per-click ads, social media management, all manner of stuff. It just depends where you are and what you're looking to do. From a startup perspective, the thing that it always boils down for me is the 3 M's: know your market, your message, your media, because you definitely need to understand your market you're going to. Then once you've done that, you know how you're going to message them, and then it's around understanding the platform that you're going on from that. And if you've got those 3 basics right and a minimal viable product, get it out there. And that's just about getting it out there and seeing what it does and seeing what happens with it.
Yeah, brilliant. And what would you say? I mean, obviously, startup companies can be all different sizes. Is there a particular industry or anything you really like to work with startups, or is it more a case of something or is it a case of just following the formula that you just mentioned just there and repeating it across different industries and different products?
Yeah, for me, it doesn't matter on the industry. I mean, I've got the SaaS software that's from a tech point of view, that we started from nothing and straight out came out of my stuff that I was doing within Excel within manufacturing businesses. So I turned that into a digital side. I've worked with hairdressers, solicitors. It's the same. And again, the size of business, it's the same challenges, just more complexity the larger the business. And that's so, people have been there, seen it and done it. So if they've been there and seen it and done it, you can as well. So again, it comes back to this mindset side and really applying yourself into it. But no, it doesn't bother me what industry and sector it is, because it's just a case of how you go about tackling the challenge, how you define the problem. So in defining the problem, you'll get the answer if you do it right.
It's interesting. You mentioned about the bigger the company, the bigger the headaches, the bigger the challenges. I met a business owner a few years ago. I think I was about 130 or 140,000 turnover, I think, at the time, and he was in the millions. And I was like, wow, I'd love to be your size. And he went, I might be 10 times bigger, but I got 10 times the headaches. And I thought, do you know what? I found this fantastic way of putting it. And he's absolutely right. It was, he has got an extra naught on the end of his numbers, but I was looking at the numbers thinking, oh, I want to be up at that level, and I want to be there, and I want to be there now, and I can't. And I was getting frustrated and letting it beat me. But yeah, absolutely right. The bigger the company, the bigger the headaches, and bigger the challenges.
As soon as you apply another person into it and another person into it, the complexity starts to grow. Processes start to slip. Because we haven't got the control that we need. So it's just a whole lot of headaches that but we have them as smaller businesses, because we all work processes. We all have to do things. We have to wear many hats as solopreneurs and entrepreneurs. But prior to the early stages, for me, I always come back to marketing, because what you want is a consistent sales. So routine and consistency in everything you do will bring the results in. So yeah, but nice problems to have, and I think it brings its own set of problems, growth and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
You just got to just set aside and get your head around them and talk to people and just crack on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to later on today. I'm talking to Charlie Stone from Shire Sounds Radio, and Charlie talks about the growth of, or we will be talking, I'm assuming, about the growth of Shire Sounds Radio, because again, that's coming up for 3 years. And knowing Charlie, he will say it as it is. It's not easy to grow a business, and it's not easy to keep consistent sometimes, and it is challenging because we're all looking at so many different markets, so many different variables involved as well. So looking forward to see what Charlie says. But what would you say to anybody that is in that situation where they're thinking, I just want to grow, but I just don't know how? They need that critical friend, I suppose, on their shoulder, but also they need to have the correct mindset as well.
Yeah, that I've been a big believer and advocate of that you are some of the 5 people you hang around with. So if you want to grow your business, hang around with people that are that might be that little bit level above you, or quite a lot above you, and watch. And that it can be done at a distance as well. You can do that with the internet and watching and following people. You can pick up things, but you want those in that inner circle to be very, very targeted around what you want to do to shift forward. So I have 2 or 3 mentors that support me, and I watch and follow and to help me shift in what I'm doing, because it can be a bloody lonely place, and you want these shoulders to rub with. And I'll be very, very cutthroat to that as well. As if there is a negative one that's in there, they'll be called, they'll be gone, because you don't want that. You want to be able to have this. You've got a good system, a good structure around you to help you take you through. The other side of it for me is that my mentor at the very, very beginning of the startup turned around and said, 90 minutes a day working on your business all the time, marketing, the creative side, what you're going to do to those revenue generating systems, and that has to be every day. Don't falter away from it. And that's something I certainly took away in the early stages, because I did take my eye off the ball with the first one, and that caused me a lot of problems.
We've all done it. I mean, I think if I look at some of the things I did, the first year of growing a business, I was keen to get out there. I'm going back to 2009 now. So I was keen to get out there, just come out of corporate world as well. So we'll talk about that in a second, how the transition was for you. Because I know for me, it was, the public speaking and selling something, which, I had never really sold anything before. But for me, I was keen to get out the market. So I'd undercut my competitors. And I think my first year, the accountant gave me the accounts and he said, Simon, you've done very well. You've achieved a 19% growth profit. And I said, 19, not 90. It was like, I'd obviously done myself out of a lot of cash, and, it was embarrassing. And I think the other big mistake I made was I didn't go with the times on the pricing. I was frightened of putting my prices up, which, everyone's like, oh, don't put your prices up. Well, actually, no, if you put your prices up and you do lose a couple of people because they don't want to pay the increase, you just got less work to do for the same money. So you may as well just put your prices up. So so it was interesting things, interesting learnings.
Yeah, and I think that this comes back to me is around understanding your market as well, because there was a research done, a story and research done with a famous violinist in America who got a whatever violin it was worth millions, multiple millions, and he commanded, like, I don't know, silly money an hour or whatever. It was really silly money, and tens of thousands of the audience, they went and let him busk in the most busiest train station. I've forgotten where it was, New York or wherever. So he'd got this multi-million-pound violin. He was this top-ranked global player, standing there in this train station busking, and he made $18. Yeah, he commanded thousands in the right environment. So understand your market and the pricing with it, because it's not that his audience isn't that train station. His audience is elsewhere. So you've got to understand that market side and pricing as well. You may start off low, but as you gain experience and as you shift, keep looking at it. I see this a hell of a lot with businesses where, particularly one of the key ones for me is hairdressers and things like that, beauticians and stuff, where they don't put the prices up. And you've got to think that in this side at the minute, what we've got here is we've got the power and energy that's increasing massively. Well, if you haven't put your prices up in 5 years, that's inflation, everything. It happens every year. You've got to do something and keep your pricing right and keep looking at it. You never want to get into a fight on pricing. That's a quick downhill way of working. You'll soon be out of business if you do that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's everything we learned as well. You sell on the value and the product. The fact that are you solving the problem for your customer over, the fact is I can do this for a tenner instead of 20 quid sort of thing. At the end of the day, it's about selling the service as well, and making sure that people are getting the right value as well, because what happens if you undersell? And I think this is the thing I learned. I undersold my product. My competitors found out. They then dropped their pricing because they could then compete with me. But when it came to referrals, obviously word of mouth went around. Oh, I can get this for this place. Go and see Simon. And of course, then you just got more coming through the door. And really not getting the benefit out of running the business properly. So. Making it no secret, we went out of business. I think we closed it up in 2015, I think, and there was a loss attached to it. And what would you expect? We put a lot of investment in up front with machinery and things like this. So obviously we had to have that capital investment up front. But did we lose money? Yeah, we did. And because we just made some stupid, horrendous mistakes, and then, as I said, not keeping up with the times, still almost panicking that. If I haven't got the phone ringing or orders coming in, then it's the end of the world. So we didn't put the price up deliberately. But it backfired. Yeah. It's dangerous.
Yeah. Probably you've got to get that right. And the thing for me is, on a startup side, you'll have you've got a product or a service out there. You've got a minimum viable product. Get it 80% there. Get it out to the market. You can then always, as you are servicing your industry, servicing your sector and your audience that you're after, your market you're after. As you're getting feedback around it and to improve things, because that's the loop you want to do, you can start improving that product and service, and therefore you can uplift it. And then uplifting it and upscaling it on from a pricing point of view, you can then offer the new features and benefits back to existing customers. So you can keep this cycle out. And I learned that from the automotive side, because the automotive side, background in manufacturing, is a model year uplift is a uplift. It's body panels and little bits and bobs like that. So they'll change the little bodywork designs. Car is fundamentally exactly the same. It's just got different body panels on it, and that's a model year uplift. So they, and they'll charge it out and get the money for it. And that's what you're doing. You've got a minimum viable product there. You can shift it out, like a Land Rover Evoque is a Mondeo.
I didn't hear that. But no, you're absolutely right. It practically, a lot of businesses are built with those foundations, and it's a case of repeating the model. If it's working, stick to it, or maybe evaluate it for further growth. But don't pull it apart unless you really need to. But talk to me about the transition. So you're in a big corporate job, and obviously deadlines, pressure, staff, people, teams, not Microsoft Teams, but obviously teams of people, and everything. And then all of a sudden you find yourself on day one of your own business. My gosh, it's such a transition, isn't it? It's such a transformation. How did you find it?
Yeah, huge. It caught up with me. I'm quite open about this from a mental health side, because I was here, there, and everywhere. America, Germany, and then the UK base, flying here there. Quite a lot of pressure in the last few years, which I can't go into because we're under NDA. So that transition, going from that to like nothing, I'm going to start up. I didn't do it because I would probably advise people to actually start up the side hustle and work on it whilst you're working, so at least you've got some form of income coming in. I didn't. I was fortunate enough with another financial side, but bang straight into it, and then thinking, oh my God, where do I start? Well, okay, you start by your contacts. So we were getting work. But as I said earlier, not keeping an eye on the pipeline and getting drawn in and sucked into doing the work for clients soon caught me out. And then that also, then with the hours that I was doing, because it was a lot less, that caught up on me. So it was up here that I hit a wall with. It did affect my mental health, and then it was a on the back foot and a battle to get back up. But you learn, and that's where I really learned around. You've got to have people around you that you can turn to, and your mentors with you that you can deem as mentors, so you can rely on some others. And if you're ever in that situation of struggling, talk to somebody. Don't bottle it up.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Don't bottle it up.
I mean, on that note, I mean, I remember, I struggle with the irregular income coming through the door. I remember that was a big challenge, but I rose to the challenge of what can I do? And I was hungry at the time, because obviously, anybody that gets out of bed for £356.81 of sales, you sort of thinking, well, you must have been really hungry in more than one way. But, it was a case of, right, just, get up and get on with it. And you mentioned mentors and people we all look up to earlier, and you just mentioned it again just now, but Tony Robinson, who's been awarded an OBE for his services to entrepreneurship and enterprise, is actually joining us at 5:00 today. And I've got a lot of admiration, a lot of time for Tony. He's, very, very switched on, very, very experienced. And he talks all the time about bootstrapping. Now, I'm going to have a little game with him. I'm actually going to say to him, can you explain what bootstrapping is, and see if he'll give me the full explanation. But obviously, I'm aware that, starting a side hustle while you are around that security is probably the way to go these days, rather than taking the big plunge like we did of going, oh, we've got no employment, we've got nothing to do today, let's go and throw ourselves in debt and then worry about it later. And it's not the way to go if you really want to be successful, I believe. Although the debt did push us on, because all of a sudden we're like, now we've got to push on. And I know Duncan Bannatyne, in one of his books, part of his success story was the fact he was in debt, because it made him get out of bed and go and work hard. But for us, it was always a lead weight around our feet. So I think your words there of maybe a side hustle first and then grow into the business rather than going straight in on day one are very wise. Very wise.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot harder unless you've got some backing from funding or something like that you can utilize, some disruptive or innovative thing that can get the backing that you need. I'd look at it from a side hustle side. Tony Robinson, he's done some fantastic work with the excluded in the COVID. He's been brilliant. So yeah, very good top gent. So that'll be interesting at your 5:00 one meeting. But yeah, it is. And the thing is for me is that the starting off, it is about sales. It is marketing. If you want to make a change, if you want to bring in more money, it's marketing. Marketing is it's just a compound effect. If you increase your distribution channels, increase your getting your awareness out there, it will have an impact eventually. Cash is a big one, as you were saying, is a big one for growth. You need cash to grow. If it's capital expenditure, if it's ads and things like that, it's cash. You need cash. So just get out there, networking, bloody everything, all the lead gen things you could think of that you can do. Social media obviously is a big one. You got time on your hands. Just crack on, get on with it. But hold accountability is the big one. Keep that mindset and accountability on doing stuff, because it's too easy to get distracted. You got to keep on it.
Yeah, definitely. The other thing I had coming out of corporate world as well, because obviously I headed up an accounts and or headed up a finance team, and then became a general manager for all of I think 8 months of an embroidery company before health kicked in, which is why we did start out our journey back in 2009, and my health was all over the place, and then I ended up not being able to. I had 2 children, and my parents were having to look after my children. So, of course, we're looking at each other saying, well, what should we do? And I just remember not having an accountability partner, not having anybody from day one questioning me. But when I'd had my health issues, I treated myself, and I bought myself, I think it was a 53 plate Jaguar, XJS. I always wanted one. I said, well, I'm going to get one when I'm in corporate world. Of course, lost my job through ill health. And I'm turning up to business network meetings in a Jag. And everyone's looking at me going, who is this character? And I'm like, hi. And then you can tell that, they could smell it straight away. They could see that I was nervous. They could see that I was absolutely petrified of walking through the door. But I walked into that first ever network meeting with about 60 or 70 local businesses in the room. And of course, you get talking to people, and then they follow you out, and they're kind of looking at you and thinking, well, you don't look very clean and tidy, but he's driving that Jag. What's going on here? So I think it was so I'll never forget. And then obviously, the car went wrong, and I was delivering product to people in a Jag, so I think, the words of advice I would say, if anybody is looking to start a business and make that transition from corporate world, is obviously look at how corporate world can be with the company car or the good salary and everything you've got with it. And obviously just see how you can transition your just you and your appearance as well, because as I said, I didn't look like I was loaded with money, but then I was driving a 2.5 litre car, and I even had a personalised number plate as well. So it was good fun though, and obviously it soon went wrong, and then next thing I know, I wasn't able to deliver any products on a leather seated, waste of money car, which was a beautiful car, don't get me wrong, but boy, it wasn't the way to start a business. But yeah, I was never learning. That's
that's the thing, I think, is that you started from scratch, and you're trying to build the business. Is that, and somebody asked me this question, and I asked it of others actually the other week, in saying, what would you do if you lost everything, lost all your connections, lost all your business, nobody knew you, and overnight, what would you do? And some people were saying, well, I'd start off networking, I'd start off this, that, and the other. Well, the first thing I would be looking is my cash flow, because I'd be looking around things that I now being tight. I'd be looking around straight away of things around saying, well, I don't need that subscription, I don't need that, don't need Netflix, don't need Sky, don't need this, don't need that, because I can withdraw and utilize that cash to help me then push and go further. So first port of call for me is understanding that runway around how long you need to last and what you do, and then also getting rid of some of these expenses, like the Jag and things like that. You don't need it. Is it essential? No, it's not. Do you need it to do your job? Well, no, I need a car to do a job. I don't need a Jaguar car to do a job. So just start off, just lead into it, and pull it down. I think there are some, some businesses that have mentors that I've seen, some influencers turn around and say, operate your business as if you're broke, because it stretches you, it makes you think differently, and that's what you want. You want to disrupt as much as you can, and some of these little things can help in doing that.
Yeah, fantastic. So, maybe open up a second bank account and maybe leaving the current account really low, and storing something in a savings account for rainy day, or even profit or corporation tax or whatever. But just literally operating the current account at low and focusing on that could be enough to really kickstart things, I'd imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other side of this as well is that we talk around the accountability and fear. where fear is where your growth is going to come from, because you if you're uncomfortable about what you want to do, then you know that there's something right with it. There's it's going to help you shift on. You need to get out, old cliche, you need to get out of your comfort zone, and you do. So again, the procrastination, if you know you've got to do something and you're not doing it, that fear of doing it is driving it, and you've got to get over that. And get through that. And the accountability side, I've given lumps of sums to a friend and saying, if I haven't done this by then, that money is yours. Well, at the early stage, you couldn't afford to do that. So you got to make that sort of thing that's uncomfortable for you as well. Just utilize that. I'll give you 500 quid, but I need to get this done by then. If I don't do it, you can keep that 500 quid. Just give yourself some accountability to help you make it really uncomfortable for you.
I just need the £500 first.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, it's a great thing to do. I mean, give something of value to somebody else, and then make yourself work to go and win it back off somebody, especially if you know it's someone's going to pull your leg or give you some grief over it, to actually make you work and work hard as well. So I think that's a fantastic little game to play as well, a bit of a test as well. So
because the accountability is is a big one. We can get caught up in doing all the little little things, and people will say, oh, I've been productive and efficient. Well, yeah, you can be productive and efficient, but working on the wrong bloody things. So you need to make sure you're working in the early stages, especially with a startup, revenue generating systems. Because that's what it's about. When you've ramped up and you've got consistent sales coming in, now you can look at your processes and building and scaling and your cash. Revenue generating systems, getting the sales in, getting the money in. Simple as that. Sounds simple, but it is hard. But
it is very simple. Surely it is. It is.
Yeah. Sometimes I do think we make things too complicated, but.
I think that's what it comes down to sometimes. I mean, there's a lot of options out there. There's a lot of, when you start a business, people are obviously trying to either help you, or they're trying to sell to you, or they're trying to, sway you away from what you are actually doing. So, when I meet people in the business networks that are starting out, I always say to them, look, this is what I think, but at the end of the day, you've got to sit in the chair of your own business. You're the director of your own movie. You're the one that gets the final say. So, even people that we've been working with recently and talking to them about, some of the help and support they've been asking us for, they are ultimately making the decisions. And even if they turn around and say, Simon, no, it's not for me, it's nothing, I don't want to do this, I want to stick to what I know, then, it's still their decision. They might come back to it in 6 months or something, fair enough. But at the end of the day, I always say to people, it's your business, it's your show, make your decision, and nobody make it for you.
Yeah, no, people have, often said to me, say, well, why would I let you into my business to for you to tell me what to do in my business? And I don't do that. It's your business. What I will get you doing is thinking differently in how you can grow that business. And I'll also operationally get it singing. And that's what we do. But I won't ever tell you how to run your business. That's for you to do and do that. But I can certainly help you build and grow it on a greater scale. It's I don't think anybody should come in and tell you how to run my business. It's like, what is it with the old consultancy? Is it, we'll take your watch and I'll tell you the time. I'll take your watch and tell you the time with the old consultant side of it. And I hate that. I class myself as a practitioner, as a mentor, more than a coach, because I actually like helping people make the change and make a difference themselves. Yeah, it's
fantastic. So, Adam, we're going to come towards the end of the session very shortly. But what's the biggest mistake you made, would you say, in running a business?
I'll keep my eye on the pipeline for a start off. So making sure that you are spending the time in the early stages marketing, that creative side of marketing, and getting yourself out there, getting yourself known. Without a doubt, that's one. Cash flow, you got to keep an eye on that. It is, the old. So we were discussing this, I think, the other week. With the turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, cash is king. No, it's not. Cash flow is king in the early stages. So really know your numbers and get that cash flow forecasting, and know your runway that you've got. Don't know how to do it, and there are ways around managing that as well, and streamlining those processes.
Fantastic. And biggest success since you started out?
Biggest success. That's a good question, though. I don't think I've ever thought of that. Biggest success. I've liked. It is going to be a bit of a personal one for me. Is the Factory IQ, the SaaS software side, was because that was something that we talk around the digital era and big data and things like that. Well, these spreadsheets were created. I created with my right hand man in a business in 1999, where we were operating with big data, utilizing Excel. And Lloyd's had been in and seen it, and the Premier Automotive Group had been in to see it, and we were just sort of blown away. And seeing that transition into what it is now in Factory IQ, which is a digital manufacturing intelligent software, has probably been my biggest success, really, because it took me a good 18 months to do the due diligence in finding Peter and 4C Software to do that, and they've done a phenomenal job with it. And that's been a cracking collaboration. From that side. But other than that, you come out with the normal cliches, but I always love seeing the customers really do well. I don't think you can beat that. The light switch on and then really fly is superb.
Yeah, fantastic.
What about you anyway?
Yeah, biggest success for me, I think, getting out of bed to go and earn £356.82 at one point was probably good. So, just to get an extra bit of income coming through the door, But I think, turning around some of the challenges that I've faced, I think I'm proud of those. I know how to face some of those challenges. So, and some of the challenges I've had in the business world haven't been straightforward. They've been crazy ones where a very well-known telecom company had just managed to sell our landline to somebody else without our permission. Also, we've got to, try and, engage their head office and key staff. And actually, we won that one and actually get compensation from it as well. So I'll see that as a success. Dealing with a very large online gaming company on the Isle of Man was probably one of my biggest successes, actually working with them and helping them to supply some products into them as well. And I think for me, I think the biggest success I think I can look at is from a personal point of view. We all have a bump in life and things like that. It's just the fact that we're actually carrying on and not turning back. And I suppose maybe I should close with this question. Since you came into your own business, have you ever had that thought, if only I didn't have to do this, and I just wish I had a job? Has that ever come into your head?
Yeah, there's no two ways about it. Even recently, I've just thought, God, bad time. You're always going to get bad times. There's no two ways about it. It's the same with being in a job, but you just haven't got the added responsibility that it's your business. So you can really, in certain cases, up and remove yourself from it. So it's no different than having a job. It's just that you own the business. You've got to manage the team. There's no two ways about it. Everybody has a bad day, and you will run through that. But you'll come back to it. You're looking around at when you're saying about successes. One of the biggest successes for me is I fly near there and everywhere. I didn't get to see my kids at all, and that was one of the conscious decisions I made. I was going to reduce the hours down. He says that laughing now, tongue in cheek. Is now 5 different ventures and collaborations, and probably working. I wouldn't say working more hours. They're more efficient hours. But the thing that it gave me was, we were discussing this not so long back, and I think I've said to you, is I don't prescribe to the Monday to Sunday way of working 9 to 5. Client time is penned in. Then my family time goes in, and then I will work around that. So if that means me working late or early or a weekend, my family time has come first. and that's the difference for me from a personal thing. So that I would have to say is probably one of the biggest successes for me. You know, my daughter suffers with mental health massively, to which it's tattooed on both of my forearms around the support for mental health in the semicolon and all manner of stuff. It's given me the ability to be there and not worry. So you know, that side is a massive success for me on that one.
Yeah, fantastic. And there's I'm sure there'll be a few others thinking the same about how to fit family life in with business and vice versa. And I know from my own journey, you know, positives, not having to go to see a line manager to get a holiday request form filled out. But on the other side, when I have sat in those, you know, children's concerts, I have been stressed I'm feeling a little bit guilty actually that I'm actually out away from the business, but also you know, the fact that an order comes in and you kind of can't do anything for an hour while you sit and listen to some Christmas carol concerts that you've known the words for about the last 40 odd years, you know. So I think at the end of the day, you know, to get the life balance correct is the key. And I remember once I did pack the car to go on holiday, and the phone rang from one of my largest clients saying, "We need this by Monday. Can you help?" And I'm like, "I'm just packing my car," but you can't tell them that. What I did say to him was that, yes, I will get this sorted for you. And I've got just the person to sort it. I delegated it out to a very trusted contact of mine, and they dealt with it for me and brought them into the equation so they could get paid for it as well. So it kept my client happy. It meant I could actually have a rest and a holiday, but at the end of the day, they were still my client. So, you know, that was hopefully another word of wisdom there for somebody as well. So, but
the work-life balance for me is, I don't know whether you'll ever get work-life balance. I look at more of an integration. They've got to work together. I don't think there's ever a balance, because chaos theory always comes in potentially. But you just, as you say, you just got to know and have the reliance and knowing what you can do in delegation and having that support structure and decent systems and processes around it. So I look at I do look at it bit different. But the one thing is, you've got to make time for yourself. You don't, if your body is telling you just, oh, slow up here, slow up, don't carry on. You know, you've got to be very, very aware of that as well.
Absolutely. Well, Adam, really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. Some fantastic, you know, experiences shared there as well. I wish you every continued success as you go forward as well. And, you know, look forward to following your journey. And if any of you are watching and you want to contact Adam, what's the best way that I can connect with you? Is it via LinkedIn?
Oh, I'm on LinkedIn. If you put Adam Payne in, I'll come up on LinkedIn, and the website is just newwaygrowth.com. So yeah, you'll find me there.
Brilliant.
So yeah, thank you very much for having me. It's been great as always.
Appreciate your time, and look after yourself, and we'll catch up soon.
And you take care.